Okay, so yesterday I'm scratching round. I'm trying to think of a subject, and thanks to you lovely people who were putting suggestions on the YouTube community page. I think it was Dave and Joe. We managed to get there, and we had some things to talk about. But I think it might have been Joe who asked, was it a good thing that we had the 2-week break? Would it benefit West Ham? I was certainly in the in the mindset that it would be advantageous for us to have a little bit of a break. I went on, I had a look on social media later on, and I'd noticed some comments from James Collins, aka the Ginger Pele. Collins had said, he said, I was down West Ham's training ground on Thursday, and they would give their right arm off, for a bit of time off. He was speaking to Mark Noble, and it's like he's living under a cloud, just mentally, not even football. Now, obviously, that's clearly paraphrased from an interview of some description, which I'm sure was a greater length than that. But I think there's enough detail in the sentence or two to tell us what we possibly suspected, which was it's not a completely happy place down at the West Ham training ground. Forget porter cabins, forget, it's not as good as Wolves training ground or anything else. Just from a place of work, it's not a nice place to be. And it's very easy to look at these people and consider them to be, because they're millionaires, that we expect a higher standard. And I think, yes, we expect them to run around, we expect them to put the effort in. And there was a certain, like we said, there was a certain opinion doing the rounds yesterday that the players didn't deserve any time off, that the players had not been putting in enough effort anyway, so they shouldn't have any time off. They should get on that training ground, they should work harder. Now, I understand why people would think that. And I think there's good reason and good evidence to suggest that we've just not run as far as a lot of other teams in the game. We have not been putting a lot of the effort in. We don't look fit. So what that really does is it sort of feeds into the fact of, well, keep on the training field, keep working hard, keep working hard. But what it doesn't really look at is mental fatigue. And if you go back and he says they give their right arm for a bit of time off, Mark Noble said it was like living under a cloud. I bet it is. I absolutely believe that 100%. And I think this is a good time for them to have a bit of a break. And I sort of touched on it yesterday about the formation and about the break, because what I would absolutely do is what I said yesterday. I'd give them 5 days off for their family. Just say, look, you guys go. Just go. And then come back. 5 days off. And then I'm going to drill you. We're going to drill you for 10 days. Not drill like that, obviously. But I'm going to drill you for 10 days on a formation, on one formation. I don't care whether it's 3-5-2 or the other one. 4-1-2-1-2, whatever the case may be. I don't care. But let's get it. Let's stick with it. And let's play with this formation for the remainder of the season. Don't muck around with it at all. The club must be highly toxic. There's clearly a lot of pressure from the fans. There's clearly a lot of pressure from within the club. They're clearly not working in an environment where people are happy. And it may be, just maybe, them taking a few days off and spending with their families and coming in fresh is a good thing, because here's what you've got to remember. Even though David Moyes has not been in there very long at all, it would have got stale very, very quickly. It was just David Moyes. It was just Alan Irvine. You remember, he tried to bring Stuart Pearce in, tried to bring Alan Stubbs in. You know the story. But what has happened is he has been able to bring some new people in. There are some new personalities on the training pitch. So when they come back after a little breakaway, go away for 2 or 3 days, whatever, take a flight to France, do whatever you need to do, come back. And when they get back on that training field, then you've got, what was his name, Paul Nevin and Kevin Nolan there. They'll have already had a couple of days training, as I say, with Bowen and with Sorchek. But that in itself gives the whole place a lift. But when they get back, for whatever reason it was in the last 2 games that they looked knackered, let's get working on it. Yes, fitness, absolutely. But I think they're running anyway. Because if you're not mentally right, how are you going to apply yourself effectively at work anyway? They're going to get down in the dumps. This must be a wearing place to be. It cannot be good. It sounds silly, and you probably think, oh, the poor precious players and the rest of it. I bet they were probably relieved for that game to be called off against Man City. I know they would have travelled all the way up there on the coach. They probably would have been in there, quite a long time before a lot of the fans were there as well. And they would have turned around, have to come back, I don't know, whatever, 10-hour round journey, something like that. It's probably the last thing they wanted to do, but I bet they were relieved. Now, you know from yesterday's video why I think it's a good time to avoid playing Man City. But just to be fresh, just a relief in their minds to think we haven't got to play for another couple of weeks, I think will be a good thing. But the formation is key. Because you remember, in fact, I'll try and pop it up here. A couple of weeks ago, or last week, I did my team. I did my team for going forward for the remainder of the season. I think that's a really good team. I think you can take 1 or 2 players out of that and for it to be a good team. But we can't keep conceding like we are. The players have got to be drilled. So if you're going with Diop and Ogbonna, they remain the centre halves. If Souček is there to help out in central midfield, great. Then you stick Declan Rice there. But you get Declan Rice used to playing with Ogbonna, with Diop, with him just sitting in front. We've got to get a cohesive system. So as we're not conceding from stupid mistakes, and realistically, this is probably the first time David Moyes is going to have to really drill the players in the system that he wants and to prove to us that he is a defensively capable manager. Quite frankly, I've got my suspicions. I'm not sure he's the right man for the job. You know this, but he needs every opportunity possible. But I just hope that he does give them a little bit of freedom, then bring them back so they come back with fresh minds, feel a bit fresh ideas, and then he can get that team down. But let everybody know where they stand. Let the people know who are going to feature on the bench. Tell them now so they don't get disappointed when that team sheet comes out. Let them know. Let them know you're going to involve them from the bench. Let them know how they're going to come on, how they're going to impact the game. But more than anything else, please do let them know their positions in the team. And please do build a team that is going to have pace in it and be able to counter-attack. Because I do believe it's one of our only chances. We are so lucky with the results that happened at the weekend. I mean, we really are. And the Bournemouth one was a huge one for us. We're long past, I think, thinking we are going to steam up the league. We are just hoping there's going to be 3 worse teams than us. And I cannot see any situation where David Moyes is going to be able to take any comfort from anything he's done. He played the 4 at the back against Bournemouth. He switched it. And then and every time he's played the 4, he looked all right. In the last game, he played the 4. Sheffield United, he played the 3. Gillingham, yes, we got the result. It was Gillingham. That's out of context, a little bit, that bit. So, this is what I want us to do. Play the 4. I said earlier I didn't care what it is. Clearly, I do care what it is. But even if he decides, he has to be stubborn at this point. Once he decides on a formation, stop swapping it around. Stick to it. Just before I go, there was a couple of other comments. I wanted to touch on them just quickly because you've been kind enough to write your comments in. So at least I can do is respond to each one. Alan Woodhouse wanted to talk about Oliver Holt's apology. Funny enough, Alan, I was going to do a little apology video almost straight away as soon as I heard the Sky Sports News one. It's going to be a little bit more sarcastic and a little bit more piss-taking than Oliver's, I think. But anyway, it was it was a very, very sarcastic piece. It sort of feeds in to what Nigel Banks was saying about the weekend's press onslaught, which is part of what Oliver Holt did. Without repeating myself too many times, Dave absolutely kippered himself. It was the worst decision in the world to go and take it legal against Sky Sports and against the Sunday Supplement, because now everybody is out to get them. Look, they're not called the press pack for no reason at all. They're like a wounded pack of wolves at the moment, quite frankly, and they're going after Gold and Sullivan. And Gold and Sullivan do not have the impeccable history to allows them to make those comments. They cannot afford to make enemies, is what I'm saying. Tom was saying about the fact that we allowed City to cancel the game due to weather when another Premier League game was on. He's obviously referring to the Sheffield United game. I don't mind the fact that they cancelled it. All the weather was dangerous. There was a lot of dangerous weather around the country. And it was going to be hard to tell. The problem was that was evident the day before. That they should have cancelled it the day before. If it's dangerous, it's dangerous. It's as simple as that. As much as the Met Office like to think that they can predict the weather, that they can, but not to the town and not to the city. You know, I think people forget we're on a ball of rocks spinning around the sun. Basically, weather patterns can change. So I didn't mind them cancelling it, but give the fans a chance, for goodness sake. Do you know what I mean? Cancel it the day before. I mean, it was. Everyone knew it was going to be a storm. I don't know what it's like where you are, but even where we are, trees were pulled up and all the rest of it. So there we go. Golf Pro, who is Chris? I know him. He says he was curious about a contract with Umbro. To be honest with you, mate, I've no idea about it. He's heard about Nike. I don't know. What I would suggest is we are not what can I say? We're not in a position of strength to start negotiating contracts with anybody, because at the moment our stock is low, very, very low. Dave, you've heard from. Richard West says, if I could interview one ex-manager under the board's tenure with honest answers, who would like to interview either Avram Grant. And he wants to know which question I would ask would be the most important question. I'd ask Avram Grant what really went on when he got sacked, about him not being allowed on the coach on the way home, and was it really true that the players had to plead with the board and say, no, you've got to give the guy a lift back home? That I'd like to find out. Allardyce as well. I would like to find out the truth about Ravel Morrison. And about the suggestion that basically he dropped Morrison from the team because Morrison wouldn't sign up with his agent Mark Curtis. If you remember, at the time there were numerous West Ham players who were on the books of Mark Curtis. So I can't. Do you know what? I know Andy Carroll was one. There were a few. I think possibly Stuart Downing. I think there was, as I remember it, there were 4 or 5. Kevin Nolan was another one. We're all under the same manager. The rumour was that Sam Allardyce said to Ravel Morrison, you've got to sign Mark Curtis. Ravel Morrison said, no, I want to stick with my old agent I've always been with. And that was the end of Ravel Morrison at West Ham. It's a rumour, obviously. I'm not saying that's fact, but if I got to do an interview with Sam Allardyce, I would, and he had to answer. Had a gun to his head, so to speak. I'd like to know that one, I've got to be honest with you. Lewis Dowsett says, my topic is, does anybody actually like topics? Yeah, all right. There's better chocolate. It's not a lot of chocolate in a topic, though, is it? Let's be fair. It's mostly filling. Wowzer says, where do I get a world-class mug? Send an email to hammerschat@gmail.com and we will tell you how to pay. We've not got our online shop up and running yet. You can do that. We'll send it out. GL will post it in a little box. Take it to the post office, put a Hammers Chat sticker on top of it, and you'll get your mug. There you go. Mr. Dong says, Mr. Dong is a naughty. Mr. Dong's a bit rude, actually. Nicely, he's not nasty. I say rude. I mean he's saucy. Do you know what I mean? And Kevin says, "Come on, you irons." There we go. Anyway, any suggestions, videos, leave them in here. We've got a long old trek ahead of us until the trouble is, the board keep putting their foot in their mouth. The board keep doing a lot of things wrong. So there's going to be more and more stuff coming up with them. To be honest with you, I'm getting sick. Absolutely sick of talking about them. Which is why I haven't overly spoken about them today. Even though a video's come up. An old video has been churned up with Karen Brady promising the earth. I mean, it would have been so easy to tear it apart on air, but I think we could all do with a few days without Gold, Brady and Sullivan. Anything else you want to discuss, leave the comments below. I'll get on it. I'll record the video myself, and Gio will be back later on tonight. I think we're doing a cup of tea.